Square Enix can be pretty secretive when it comes to what they're working on behind the scenes. So much so that when it comes to this year and next, 2023 and 2024, we are all anxiously anticipating updates. Any sort of update. The recent Sony State of Play passed by without a Square Enix title and left us all wanting more with questions like, how is Rebirth's development coming along? Is FF7 Remake actually a real thing? And what about that Pixel Remaster collection? So to help us get to the bottom of what Square Enix might be planning, I'm joined today by my good friend Globos Hekeli, who has worked retail in the gaming industry for about 13 years now. How you doing today, Globos?
Not too bad. How you doing?
I'm doing alright. So, with FF7 Rebirth, it's set to make its debut sometime next winter. We got that in the short trailer we received before. But in what month, and I guess I could say what year, do you think the game is most likely to be released?
I can see it being another December release like Crisis Core, or even pushed to like end of January, beginning of February.
I did post a poll on this, and a lot of people were thinking January or March. It seems like there were a few December people who picked it, but I still think that's a bit too close to Final Fantasy 16.
I don't know. I can see them doing it just like Crisis Core and just do like a very early December release. Usually there isn't much after like the 7th, 10th or so. So yeah, I could see it being an early December.
Yeah, I mean, it would be possible because they said sometime next winter, and winter extends to what, like March or April of the next year almost?
Usually March.
Yeah, usually March. So anytime before March is good. We could get that before then. So as long as they fit it in before March, they're still fulfilling their promise. So, I don't know, a 2023 release is possible, but I'm torn on that. I really am. What do you think the pros and cons are to releasing it in December as opposed to waiting till March?
Well, December they'll get more sales just because of Christmas. March gives people time to recuperate their wallets from Christmas, so March isn't a bad release window either.
Yes. Definitely have to take that into consideration because there will be the Christmas season will be hurting people's wallets, and March will give us time to recuperate that a little bit to spend our money on Rebirth. And going off of that, do you think it's possible? I guess I'm saying this from a development point of view, not a fan point of view. Do you think it's possible we get a playable prologue in the form of DLC before the release of Rebirth? So something maybe featuring a playable Zack or playable Vincent, just something before we actually get the game.
Oh, did we get a demo or anything for Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I honestly can't remember. I know we definitely got a 15 demo that changed before that game came out, but I can't remember if we got that, if we got a demo for Remake. But do you think we'll get a demo for Rebirth?
I don't know. It's definitely doable to give, even if it's like a side story to see how Yuffie connects to the group, just to continue her story and then her seeing them in the distance and maybe following them at the end.
Yeah, because the way Integrate ends, it kind of ends with her on the Chocobo and she's like about to meet up with the group. You know, at some point, like she's going to very, very soon. We just kind of need that bridging scene that they're probably either gonna do in a DLC or wait for the game.
Because I can see them doing that last little bit before, she's that random encounter in a forest or whatever they decide to do to make them meet.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if she'll have all those options that she had in like the original FF7 game, or how she'll be like mandatory or required. Can you miss her? And like, what will the dialogue options be like when you encounter her?
I bet if you do miss her, then it's going to be like she tracks you down at the beginning of the next town or something like that. So she's not optional, but
ooh,
you have the option to get her slightly earlier.
I like that idea, actually. So they're kind of giving you the feel of the original, where like you feel like you have to answer the specific dialogue questions, but if you do miss her, you're not like missing out because she will come back.
Yeah, I think she's going to be part of it just because she was a major DLC portion.
All right. And I guess besides Yuffie, a lot of people think that Zack needs his own story before Rebirth. I have heard a lot of people saying that we should get some sort of playable demo, and from a fan perspective, it's awesome. I mean, who doesn't want it? But from a development perspective, I guess I'm just trying to think, would they actually do that, or would that be more of a reveal they're saving into Rebirth?
So I can see them doing something similar like that, where you get to start with Zack at the beginning when he leaves Cloud, and then, eventually they meet up with him in present time.
That would be nice. And I guess the ultimate question is, do they save that for some sort of DLC beforehand, or do they incorporate that as like a prologue or chapter in the actual Rebirth?
I think it would be like the same kind of jumping, you get to a certain point in main story, and then it jumps over to Zack to a kind of similar sort of situation, but it goes a different way. And it's just kind of leading up to present day, but it's showing you where he was in the past. Because at this point, they're basically, where we left off with Cloud, it's basically the same spot where they would have had their battle and Zack would have died in the original.
Like in terms of the Crisis Core ending?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're basically at where Zack would have died. So it could pick up exactly where Zack decided to go the opposite route, with maybe another soldier who would bring him back to town and nurse him back to health. But I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, oh totally. There's so many things they can do. And I guess one more thing on Rebirth. I've heard a lot of people say Zack might not even actually be alive. I know that sounds weird, but they're saying that he may be some sort of projection from the life stream, and the fact that we didn't get an alternate ending in Crisis Core has reinforced the notion for those people, I guess. What do you think of that?
I'm thinking that if he's not actually alive and what they're doing with this, because, just like the poster that we see flying away with a different mascot.
Yeah, different stamp.
Maybe it's a third universe where Zack lived and Cloud died. And the remake universe that we're seeing right now, that we're playing through, is Universe 2, and Zack is in Universe 3, where he lived instead. But the Universe 2 that we're in is where things are starting to change, and in Zack's universe is where things drastically changed.
Oh, yes.
Like Universe 1, the original game, we won, but it didn't really feel like we won when you get to Advent Children, and the world is pretty much still desolate.
Yeah.
And then Zack's the other way, where maybe they still lost and the universe is still desolate as well. So maybe Universe 2 that we're playing through is going to be the one that ends up being the good universe in the end.
So, they're just going to keep dangling these time threads in front of us for so long. Like,
so many theories.
Yeah. The next trailer will not confirm our, whatever the timeline is. Guaranteed. They're still going to leave us dangling until the actual game's release.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about Square, is they do some pretty good storytelling.
Oh, yeah. Some nice suspense building. And, which game do you think will sell more copies, I guess? Rebirth or Final Fantasy 16, if you had to choose one, because there's popularity for both.
I think Rebirth will sell more in the long run. I think people are jonesing for a new Final Fantasy, and we'll see if this actually scratches that itch. I don't know. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, and I'm not super stoked for 16. It looks great, don't get me wrong, just I'm not as excited as I thought it would be for the next one.
That's fair. I
feel like I'm getting the same kind of vibes from customers. Yes, it's definitely a game people want. I don't think they're as excited for it as they have been in the past for other ones.
I think people are a little tentative after the release of 15, because 15 was a great game, but it wasn't the game that it started to be when it was being developed. It kind of shifted directors and changed development, and I think people are just, they have a wait-and-see attitude. They're like, all right, I want a new Final Fantasy, let's see what this is, and let's see if it scratches that itch.
Yeah, 15 went through development hell with, the Crystal series that they were doing with 13 versus 13 and all that stuff, and it warped into something very different from what it originally started with. So yeah, 15 had some struggles. I enjoyed the game overall. I thought it was great, but
yeah.
I think that with all the changes that happened, it wasn't what people expected of it.
Yeah, and I still think for those who feel that they missed out on what other game could have been, I still think Tetsuya Nomura is integrating that into Kingdom Hearts, with the whole Yuzora and Crystal aspect. So I think we will get to see part of his vision, just not quite in a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little behind on Kingdom Hearts, but for the most part, the story does seem like it's kind of curving into that direction. But we'll wait and see. The new one looks pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of curveballs, I don't have a direct quote, but Tetsuya Nomura recently stated something at a concert that he said something happened after the 20th anniversary event, which determined the direction of the entire series, but then he didn't go into any further detail. Like, he was on stage when he said this. What are your thoughts from, like, an outside perspective on that? Like, the entire series. That's pretty...
I mean, it's with all the Disney merging that's been happening with Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, all that stuff. Like, Disney has so much stuff that they can just be like, here, go and play. And there's so much that they could do, so... Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of different directions, and... I mean, Square has so many IPs as well. Like, I don't, with all the sales that they did in the last couple of years, I'm not sure what they still own, but like they had Tomb Raider, they had a few other series that they could have easily started to bring into it as well. And who knows? The walls between universes can break down easily when you have keys to different worlds.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, Sora's and Smash people. And but in terms of what you were just saying, Marvel and Star Wars, I even posted a poll about this. Do you think there will be a Star Wars world in Kingdom Hearts 4?
We've had, not arguments, but we've had talks about this before. I mean, I can see it. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of them breaking the wall into Star Wars and Marvel, but it's an opportunity for sure.
The one Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer really looks like it's the foot of an AT-AT on I believe it's Endor, but it's we will have to see.
I mean, at that point, it's which movie do we pick? Which one has some of the best hype? Which one would fit the best? And I mean, Return of the Jedi would make a lot of sense because that was a very finite kind of ending to it. Even though they did, sort of bring things back with Episode 7. But I feel like for the OG fans, like, that would probably be a very good movie to take part in. You get the epicness of Star Destroyer exploding, the finite kill of the Emperor. I mean, semi-finite, I guess, but just some fun stuff between the Ewoks, between Stormtroopers. You get some cool walkers, you get some space battles. Like, there's a little bit of everything in Return of the Jedi.
Culminate in an ultimate, like, Palpatine fight.
And to be honest, like, a lightsaber Keyblade, that could be kind of cool, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. Just curious if it would be, like, a curved lightsaber or something like Kylo Ren's, or if we're going to see it more like a dark saber. Like, there's so many options, too.
And I mean, when you think of the parallels even between Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts, like you kind of have to be like worthy of the Keyblade. You kind of have to be like a Jedi, and you kind of have to be almost worthy in a sense to have a lightsaber. So
and with Sora's magic, like that's kind of moving into Force powers. So I can see some people confusing him for a Jedi for that.
Oh, definitely. I guess that leads me into another question. You were talking about both Star Wars and Marvel. If Star Wars, let's assume that is in Kingdom Hearts 4, do you think Marvel will be as well, or is that too much of an overload at the same time?
I think that would be too much at the same time. But knowing Disney and where Square Enix is going right now, like I could see them just going all in. Just let's do it. But where would they go with Marvel? Like, would they take after the Avengers, or would they focus on a whole new enemy? I mean, Ultron would feel like a really weird spot to jump into. Thanos would feel kind of weird to jump into.
Yeah, at this point it feels like they're done with all that.
So, like, multiverse would feel kind of like the best spot to jump into because, I mean, alternate universes, but I don't know. It's just, Avengers would probably be the best spot because that's when you have the heroes together. And, throw in an extra hero, Zora and Goofy and Donald, like that would make sense too. Expand the Avengers group.
Make them temporary Avengers or honorary Avengers or something like that.
I'm just not sure if Loki is the best, ultimate bad guy for that kind of world. I don't know.
The thing that I found interesting, going back to Nomura's comment that determined the direction, because I didn't necessarily interpret that as a bad thing, but a lot of people were like, oh, well, that means Disney's leaving Kingdom Hearts. Like, that was a hugely prevalent thing. And I'm like, why would Disney leave Kingdom Hearts? They also own Kingdom Hearts. Or they own Sora. They split it with everything with Square Enix. Yeah. But it's just like, they have such a huge footprint in there. And Kingdom Hearts is at its peak in terms of interest. That doesn't make sense to me.
I don't see how they would cut out Disney because it's so intertwined with Disney. Like, unless they decide Disney characters are done, they've finished with that story arc, and now it's, instead of Disney, it's now intertwined with Star Wars, and then when they're done with Star Wars, it's now intertwined with Marvel, and I don't know.
But how would you do with, like, Mickey and Donald and Goofy, then?
Your sidekicks would be Luke and Han, I guess, I don't know. Or Han and Chewie. I just don't know how they would intertwine it with another series. But, the way that it's gone, it just doesn't make sense to cut Disney out. Exactly.
And why would they do that? I think even Kingdom Hearts appeared in another recent Disney Plus thing, Chang Can Dunk. Someone was playing Kingdom Hearts during that. Like, every time something new comes out on Disney Plus, there's a reference, whether it's like Proud Family or whatever. Someone's playing a Kingdom Hearts game. Like, they're pumping it up in subtle ways that it's just, they're not going to leave it.
Even there's a Mickey episode in a new Mickey Mouse that Minnie was helping him clean out his house, and in one of the boxes to throw out was a Keyblade. They have nice little nods in some of these episodes to other things that Mickey's in.
Oh, that's a great nod.
Yeah.
Did he end up throwing it out? Hopefully not.
I think most of the junk he ended up hiding back in his attic or something like that.
I like it. Well, do you think Kingdom Hearts will ever, while we're talking about, world jumping, will ever make its way into the world of Final Fantasy XIV?
I would love to see a crossover with that, but 14, that's a hard one.
It's tough.
Because there's a lot of extra collaboration that has to be done just with all the extra stuff they've done with 14. Yes, it's pretty much all Square Enix owned content in that game, but I don't know if Disney would want to jump into that one either, because if they do, then is Disney going to want a cut of everything 14?
Well, Disney's going to get a cut of anything Sora's involved in anyways, regardless. I don't think that's too much of a stipulation anymore, will Disney go along with it? I think it's more, can they keep the spirit of Kingdom Hearts in the world of 14 at the same time? I
don't think it's more of, will Disney go along with it? It's more of a, will Disney want a cut of every little thing? So would it be a limited time event that happens only once? Because they've done that before.
That's a good question.
Or is it going to be, here's a whole new dungeon aspect that happens that is in there forever, like the Monster Hunter one?
Yeah, or the new raids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe the next expansion that could be where they go with the basically like the newer raids. They just include a Kingdom Hearts section, but I feel like Disney would want too much out of it.
Interesting. Yoshida once touched on this briefly, where he basically said if he were to integrate it, he wouldn't want to do the way he made it sound. It wouldn't want to be a one-off. So it sounded like he wouldn't want to just do a quick event or a quick mount or a quick here's Sora's costume, that's the end of it. It really sounded like he wanted to integrate it into the story and the lore of Kingdom Hearts and make them both work together.
It's not a quick thing like they did with Yokai Watch. Because Yokai Watch was, I think, a 1 or 2 time event, and then it's never come back since.
Yes. And the 15 event, I don't think has come back since. It might have come back once, but now it's done.
I think they only did that one once as well. I could be wrong on that.
You can't get the car anymore because I still want that.
No, I never got that one.
I know, it's too bad. So I was wondering, in terms of Sora Amiibo. How many do you think Nintendo will make?
They've never really done more than 2 of a single amiibo, so I don't see them doing more than 2. Could have him in his OG costume and then in his Kingdom Hearts 4 costume.
His Kingdom Hearts 4 costume. I like how you keep slipping that in, because that would be an awesome addition, even though it's not part of Smash.
Yeah, but once Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out, they're going to do a costume change in there. You know it's going to be a costume.
I don't know.
Minor
I hope
updates.
so.
Minor updates. They're not adding anything super new anymore, but it's still... They're always updating games.
Oh,
you can see that happen.
I mean, and they still do like spirit boards and everything, and like add new stuff to Smash in that sense. Yeah. So it'd be interesting, but they could definitely have his Kingdom Hearts 1 costume. It's nostalgic. We all want that. I feel like his Kingdom Hearts 3 costume is what got a lot of people interested into the series. So I feel like that has to be done as well. And honestly, you were talking about Disney wanting a hand in profits and stuff earlier. I think that depending on what kind of deal was made with Sora being in Smash, maybe Disney was like, okay, let's print more amiibos and you just give us a certain percentage. Like, you go and you print an amiibo for his Valor form, his Wisdom form, his Ultimate form, and Disney gets their cut of it, and then the rest goes to Nintendo, like it normally would.
Nintendo doesn't like money. That's not happening.
Disney likes money.
Disney likes money. Nintendo doesn't. They make enough. They're happy with what they get.
Oh, I hope people can tell the sarcasm in your voice. But sometimes they do make questionable decisions where you're just like, I want to give you more money, but you're not letting me. But it would be very, very intriguing to actually ultimately see how many amiibos they release, because I did post a poll and some people actually said 3 or 4 and 2 were some of the better options, or the more prevalent options, I should say. And then there were also some people who picked never. I'm guessing some of the same people who didn't think Sora could be in Smash in the first place, or just think the logistics would be too difficult. But I don't think Nintendo would have allowed Sora into Smash without at least knowing one amiibo was going to be printed.
Just thinking in my head, though, would they be able to do a Goofy and Donald amiibo? I don't know how that would end up working. You tap it and you get extra spirits or something?
I mean, like make a Sora, Donald, and Goofy amiibo together, or like just...
Yeah, like a 3-pack. And the Donald and Goofy would be like, get you random spirits.
That would be intriguing. Although, Sora's Final Smash is not, doesn't involve like Trendy Limit or Donald or Goofy, so I don't know. I feel like that was almost the line with Disney. Maybe they didn't want too much of Donald and Goofy smashing, but if it just gave you spirits or something, that would be intriguing.
Yeah. I don't know. Just, it came to mind, like, I can see a 3-pack of amiibos with, like, the OGs or a Donald and Goofy, and then have, like, a Player 2 Sora come out as well.
Yeah, a Player 2, I think, is almost inevitable. They have 2 Bayonettas, they have 2 Clouds.
Yeah.
2 Soras, I think makes sense. All right. Well, I got one final question for you. Do you think we will receive a Final Fantasy XIII Remastered trilogy on consoles sometime this year or next year, or do you think that's not going to happen?
I can see it happening. I couldn't even tell you a time frame, though. But I can see it happening for next gen, for PS5 and Series X. And probably PC, I guess, too.
I actually would wonder if it would be part of Series X, because Square Enix seems to be moving a bit away from Xbox.
Well, we'll see what happens with the Activision deal. I've been hearing different things about that.
Yeah? Actually, that should be very interesting, I guess, for lack of a better word.
I've heard from a couple of customers that if the Activision deal goes through, that Square's cutting ties with Xbox. So I guess we'll see. But again, rumors. Don't read into that.
Yeah, rumors. And although it sort of feels like they've slowly started cutting ties regardless. So, I mean, we'll see. Because with 16 and Rebirth being on PS5 and everything else is just, I don't know. Sony seems like the place to play Final Fantasy games at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it has been since PS1 days.
Those were the good old days. No.
Too much load times.
Definitely. Oh, I love the PS5 load times.
So much nicer.
Oh, and with that, I think we'll wrap that up. So thanks for joining us today, Globos.
Yeah, no worries.
If you have any thoughts or theories, or any questions for myself or Globos Heckley, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. And if you want to support the channel, feel free to hit like or subscribe. But otherwise, everyone have yourself a great day. May your heart be your guiding key, my friends. And as always, happy gaming.